very much for coming today. My name is Nicola Pearson, and I'm a local writer and a very small cog in the wheel that created Find Your Voice, a wonderful book by local young authors. I share that wheel with Chaslyn here, who is the teen librarian and marketing specialist for the Upper Skagit Library, and Haley, who is the children's librarian here at the Upper Skagit Library, and Betty, who is representing Friends of the Upper Skagit Library, and we'll be selling books. So first of all, apparently I should tell you that there are snacks, thanks to 5 bees on the table behind so that they don't get in the way. But you are more than welcome to avail yourself of the snacks. There are also books, copies of Find Your Voice, which ultimately we hope you will want to take one home for a donation. The suggested donation is $10, but nobody should go without. If they want to put less in or more in, you are more than welcome. The money goes to the Friends of the Library and supports many programs, including reading programs. So, I am going to tell you that this journey started with the American Legion Hall post number 132. It started with a dream. They had some funds and wanted to support something that would support young people. And so John Boggs, who is also a local writer, as well as a great supporter of the written word, the performed word, right, and all sorts of children's programs, came to the Upper Skagit Library and said, how can we make a partnership here? How can we make this work together? And so before I talk about John Boggs, I think John Boggs should get up and tell us a little bit about the dream. Would you mind, John? And this is for you, with grateful thanks for what you did for these young people, and I'm sure they will all sign it for you at some point.
Yes.
But not right now.
Real quick, the American Legion Hall, of course, this used to be our Legion Hall right here. When our membership started decreasing greatly, and we only had a couple members would come to a meeting, we decided it was time to get out of the business of maintaining a hall that we couldn't afford. So we found a better home for it, and we decided at the time that the town did not need another bar or restaurant, and the way it was configured, that was the only thing the building was really set up to do. So we essentially sold it off to some folks who were willing to renovate it for the library, and got passed on to the library. We do have an exhibition there on the north wall. And the money we raised from selling our building, we put into a scholarship fund. And the way we structured that scholarship fund is we are only allowed to spend the proceeds and not the principal. So we will never run out of money. We just can't give as much money every year if we don't make it, but every year we can give something. For a few years, there weren't many scholarships being asked for in the town of Concord High School, and so the way we had the scholarship fund structured was we could not only do scholarships, but we could do anything to promote literacy in the Upper Skagit Valley. And this program would certainly fit that bill, and so we work to support that, and that's kind of, a lot of work went into this booklet. We did the easy part. The folks here did the hard part, so thank you very much.
Thank you, John. And the members of the American Legion, post number 132. And John's exactly right. Writing a book is not an easy thing to do, even if you've only got a small part in it. When John came to the library, it wasn't necessarily to have a book written. It was, what can we do to support the youth in this community? It was the librarians that came up with the idea based on something that they had seen at the Concrete Elementary School, which was the Young Authors Program. And that was run mostly by Mia Rusin, although she had volunteers come in and help her. And that teaches young people how to structure something that they're trying to communicate with words. And that sounds easy, and everybody's got a book in their head, but actually sitting down to do the work takes a lot. A lot of focus, a lot of dedication, a lot of not giving up when it's frustrating you because it's going in the wrong direction, right? All of those things had to happen before we even got to actually publish the words on the page in this kind of format, right? And so the library suggested a young authors program like the one that Mia Rusin had been doing, and Brooke Peterson, who had done something like this up here at the library. And they decided to expand it beyond third graders, because that's what Mia Rusin worked with, was third graders. And so they invited kids and teens to come into this writing program, thinking that the teens could also mentor the younger students and show them a little bit about the writing process. Because of the connections available to staff, the library had a young adult author published by Scholastic Press who was willing to do workshops with these young people, right? And then they also asked, I'm going to get my page right here, that Rosie Thor, who taught our young authors how to make brainstorming fun by playing a game called Cogs, which I don't actually know what that means, but they can tell you about it later if you want to, if you played that game. And then they had author and freelance editor Catherine Locke come in, who gave the young authors an in-depth and nuanced take on the relationship between authors and editors and the different types of editing. And editing actually can be a fun part of the writing process. Once you get into it, once you can see what it is you're trying to communicate, then tidying it, it's almost like decorating a cake, right? You've got the basic cake, and then you get to come in and put the lines on the top and the decorations around the side. Editing can be fun, trust me. I've written lots, and I'm now at that place where I enjoy editing. And then there was me. And I came in and helped them brainstorm a little bit and help them get ready for this today. This is called a book launch. So what these young people are going to do is launch their book into the world. And they're going to do that by standing up and sharing part of what they've written. And they're a little nervous, but you know what? They're going to do a wonderful job. I heard some of them yesterday. And I heard some of them before that in the teen room back there. And I was very impressed with their ability to handle their material. If you need a chair, there might be some further in. Come in and join us. So what happened when the library put the announcement out, 24 young people stepped forward to do this program. And they got introduced to parts of it, but along the way, some of them moved on to other projects because writing is hard, right? And so they left us, but we were left with April and Hannah, and Sarah and Josh, and two young men called Mateo and Ismail, and they are currently in Africa. So they could not join us here today, but they were writers too. They are writers, and they are represented in the book. This project was an amazing opportunity to share with the Upriver community just how talented and thoughtful Upriver youth truly are. So now we're going to turn the microphone over to them and let them introduce a little bit of their writing to you. And I think we're starting with Sarah, is that correct?
Yeah.
And yours are poetry, right?
Yeah, they're kind of like stand-up poetry.
Sure, sure, sure.
Is it okay if I stand?
You please, we would like that. And remember, not everybody can hear as well, so if you don't mind projecting into the back, that would be wonderful.
She's really good at that.
Yeah, I think so. But I mentioned that for the
Chaplain,
others
I
too.
don't think this is bookmarked correctly.
Flip on the back side of the blue.
Neither of them are mine.
What about this one? Yes.
It's near mine, most of them.
This one.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so this is What Would I Say, and it's a poem from my mother. I'll never meet you, I know. I'll never hear your voice, I know. Isn't it strange, this world? You brought me into it, but you'll never see me grow. I was young then, and I'm still young, so I'll go the rest of my life and never see you laugh, yell, or cry. But I see you smile. In this picture, you're beautiful. In the mirror, I look and I see your nose. Your friends talk about how amazing you were. I'll never meet you, but I'll always love you. When people hate you, I cry for you. I understand why you made those decisions, I do. I think I might have made them too. And as sad as I am to never meet you, because I don't get you, my expectations are met. You are as I dream you to be, a picture in my head just for me. You are my mother, not my mom, but you brought me to my mom, the woman who made me a woman. You both worked hand in hand. You gave me my beauty and my personality, and she raised me up to be me.
Very nice.
And I believe there were 2 more I was going to share. This one was a little more personal. Dancing is My Therapy by Sarah Nimnick.
Can you say your last name a little louder, Sarah, please?
Sarah Nimnick.
Thank you.
I push it down, no, stomp it down. I dance all over it, smash down, flesh with the floor. It's my dance floor, and no one knows. My dance floor is every painful memory I have, and I dance till there's nothing but sore hips and happiness left. But it's back the next day. I walk down the street dancing. Don't be frightened, it's my therapy. I sing a happy song, and that has almost a tangible sadness. You see, a happy young lady. Wow, that tells me you don't really know me. I'm not the sunshine we all see. I'm sad, and that doesn't make me weak. And yet I can't even convince myself that. I just dance, move, and feel everything fade away. I continue my smiling facade. I pretend like the nasty things people say, that the looks that they give me don't affect me, but they eat me down to my core. Instead of a sense of relief, I find myself swimming in a pool of my own anxiety. So I dance, and I sing it all away. It doesn't matter. I'll get over it eventually. Dancing my way out of my sadness, closing my eyes, seeing with my feet, focused on the melody. Finally, I'm free, safe to be me.
And I made you say your name louder because one day these people might be in bookstores asking for your books, right? Yeah.
And then this is the last one for my older sister. It's called. Why do you still talk to me after I've done all of those terrible things? And if you're not leaving, can I say something? Thank you for being there when no one else could. Not when no one else would. They couldn't because I pushed them away. You listened, even after I hurt you. You still cared, even after I deserted you. Maybe you're not the same, but I'm not the same. Somehow you still love me, and it makes me deranged. I was in a prison of my own making. The only visitor I had was you, my sister, smarter than half the world, the one who prevailed and reached for her dream. There were 3 of us girls. You were the leader. One day, I went off course. It's crazy where life led me. I try to start from where I remember, when you decided to have a relationship with me. But that is only an ember, because that is not you, and that's not me. But this time, I'm putting in effort. Telling you is not enough, so I'll show you. Remember who I was, because it's partly who I am. And also that I'm partly winging life. I have no plan. Never forget how crazy I am. I will always look up to you. You will always be my idol. Every night I write a note to you, but one you'll never see, of all my problems, my hopes, and my dreams. So I want you to see, you're closer to me in my heart than you know.
Very nice. And just so you know, after everyone's read, there will be a chance at question and answer, so you can ask the authors anything that you might like to know, okay? But that was very good, Sarah. Thank you very much, yeah. You ready, Hannah?
I don't know my book is.
You don't know where your book is? Could you borrow mine?
We're gonna read it off the screen.
Dad got it.
And you're going to read yours off the screen. So you're going to go over there and stand next to Chaslin.
I can use them on that side of the table right there so everybody can see it. Don't laugh, I drew this in 2nd grade, and now I'm in 4th grade. So,
Hannah, what's your last name too, please?
Utegard?
Utegard. This is Hannah Utegard, and she did the wonderful cartoon and is going to read the bubbles. What's written in the bubbles?
Do you want to read us the title, Hannah? The crazy kids and their tiny adventure. It's been so long. It's way easier to see this. What should we do? Wait. What should we do? I have an idea. Got it. Okay, let's go. Where are we going? We'll see. Okay. Okay, we are here. There's nothing here. Press your button. Okay.
Hannah, maybe point at the one you're reading as you go.
Yeah,
And we can follow with you.
I'm here.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, we're small. Spider.
Very good.
Pretty sure it's only like 5 pages. Ready for the next page? Spider noises. Bye, spider. Don't eat us. I won't eat you guys. It's okay, I'll shrink down to your size. Okay, yeah. Beware, it's storming outside. Is this better? Yes. Oh no, rain, come on, let's go. Get on, okay. We are safe. Yay! Drop. No! You guys fell right into my trap. Oh no! No! You know how I said I wouldn't eat you guys? Well, I will. I hate this. You guys are my lunch. No! I colored it with my Nana, so it's not my fault. I was in a hurry. The spider takes them to a bigger web. This is my real web. I'll put you guys in it. I got my leg out. I got my arms out. Boom. What is happening? Okay. You just look at it. Now I will eat you. Let's make a rainbow. Hey, look, a rainbow. Wait, what?
And I think that's the last page. So if you want to find out what
There's
happens,
a 5th page.
well, no, we're not going to show that yet because what we want them to do is we want them to read the book to find out what happens.
Yeah, there
Leave
you
it as a bit of a
go.
mystery. So we got to buy the book to know what happens to these crazy kids on their adventure.
Good job, Hannah. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. So you can see there's a lot of different things in this book for you to enjoy. And our next reader is going to be April. April, would you stand up and give us your full name too, please?
My name is April Whitted.
Thank you.
I wrote this in 2023. The poem I will be reading is called Mind. Time will slip into my mind like blinding lights through the sky. Within my mind, I see the sky and stars. Through my eyes, oceans wander. Through night, stars unbound like blinding lights.
Can you tell them what kind of poem that is, April, please?
I believe it's haiku.
It's a haiku, right? Just 5 lines. Yeah, very good. Very good. Would you like to share one more? Not right now?
Not right now.
Okay, maybe we'll come back.
I would like to hear his because his is a really good book. I really recommend it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you, April. And now we have Josh. And Josh, would you stand up and introduce yourself too, please? It's all part of the book launch.
Well, my name is Joshua Winters, and I will be reading a sample from my book, which is entitled A Fin in the Water. The tiny boat of researchers drifted slowly alongside the dock before coming to a stop. As soon as Carolina heard the small thud indicating that they had made contact with the pier, she grabbed a rope and jumped eagerly ashore to help moor the vessel. Devin Clark, the head of the research team, stood on the dock, awaiting their arrival. He was a tall American man with graying hair, corded muscles, rough skin, and a slightly younger appearance than most people would expect of someone in their early 60s. "Were either of you hurt?" the Mr. Clark asked, striding over to join Carolina and Victor by the boat. Carolina finished tying her rope to the dock before showing him the scratch on her forearm. Not badly, but I think a bandage and some disinfectant is in order. Neville, bring a med kit! Clark called to a man on the shore. Then he turned back to Carolina. How did this happen? A scanning machine went overboard. I tried to grab it and got pulled down too. Clark pinched the bridge of his nose, taking a moment to grieve the loss of an expensive piece of hardware. Well, that was very heroic. Thank you. I guess all that matters is that you're safe. Equipment is expensive, but it's not worth a life. Clark started walking back along the pier, Victor and Carolina trailing behind him. Being wet only exaggerated the leanness of Victor's build, and Carolina found it somewhat amusing how much he looked like Clark in that moment, despite being half as old. His thick, black hair was plastered to his head with water, further differentiating him from their boss. Thanks for the help, Carolina told Victor as they walked. Guess I owe you a dinner or something. That's not as much as you owe that shark, Victor replied with a chuckle. Carolina scoffed. Then her expression soured as she realized that her colleague was serious. You mean the humongous adult female Carcharodon carcharius that tried to eat me while I was drowning? Is that the shark you're referring to? I may not have been all the way down there with you, but I know what I saw. That great white freed you. She saved your life. The way I see it, if she wanted to hurt you, she would have done it. There's no way she intended to help me. Great whites are responsible for the highest number of unprovoked fatal shark attacks, at least that have been reported. Victor just shrugged, unable to dispute the statistics. Carolina thought about what Victor had said. Did that shark really intend to help me? She wondered. That concept contradicted everything she had heard about sharks. Great whites especially had always been portrayed as vicious killers, and Carolina had never thought to question that, or consider the possibility that people's views on the creatures might be wrong. But Victor's argument made sense. It was very unlike a shark to miss a stationary target. Before they had gotten off the dock, they were approached by a muscular, brown-haired woman, one of the relatively few other people on the pier. She was dressed like a mercenary, with a thick black vest covering her torso and a name tag that read, Pereira. I'm sorry, but I couldn't help overhearing. You said something about a great white shark? Yeah, a big one, Carolina told her. I'm almost certain it's a female, since males don't usually get that large. Thanks for the tip, said Pereira, handing her a few pesos. Her no-nonsense voice belied a level of discipline that Carolina had not been exposed to often. Senor Varela Torres will be pleased. Who? Encontraste algo? Someone asked. Boots pounded the wooden planks mercilessly as a man joined them. He stood only a few inches below 6 feet in height, and the lower half of his face was darkened by a collection of short, black hairs. La mujer dice que encontró un tiburón blanco en el arrecife Che, Pereira told him. Un tiburón? ¿Qué tan grande? Basado en su descripción, más mucho grande que cualquier cosa que hayamos visto en el último año o dos. Esta podría pagar de deuda con la señorita Maldonado. The man's eyes sparkled with greed. ¿Qué estamos haciendo aquí parados? Movete que se nos va. Pereira and the man almost seemed to have forgotten about Carolina as they talked. Victor just looked back and forth between the two of them, uncomprehending. Still conversing in Spanish, the two of them walked away and boarded a rundown boat moored nearby, one of the only other vessels in the small port. The boat's crew consisted of around a half-dozen men and women wearing the same uniforms and body armor as Pereira. Carolina watched the brick-red vessel pull away from the dock, its engines puttering, and noticed the name El Asesino, meaning the assassin or the slayer, in dull yellow lettering on the side of the bow. What was that about? Victor asked Carolina, who had been following the whole conversation. Victor knew only minimal Spanish and deferred to Carolina's bilingualism. I'm not entirely sure, she admitted. Apparently he's trying to pay off a debt to someone named Maldonado. He also seemed unusually interested in that shark. Victor looked thoughtful for a moment. Varela Torres. Well, that name sounds familiar. I think I heard someone mention him recently. Carolina shrugged. I've never heard of him, but tomorrow's an off day, and I'm going to go see a former colleague about that shark. I'll be sure to ask about him. Maybe she knows something. Dr. Blanco! Dr. Reed! Clark called from the beach. Come on! Carolina cast one more glance backward at El Asesino before walking off the dock with victor.
Very good. I bet you want to read the rest of that now, huh? Yes, very good. Okay, and now, because we do not have Mateo and Ismail here, these young people have offered to read something from what they wrote. So they do get included in the program because they were a big part of the program. They are a big part of the program. So I think, April, are you up next? Ismail's story via April. Do you have the section you're going to read? Please.
I think it's toward the, yeah.
It's the archer.
Yeah.
Ismail's is the archers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you stand up and just do that?
I can't. Just
Yeah. Okay, come on, step forward. Thank you.
gather around and listen to the tale of hurt, loss, and hardship. My name is Sam. I come from a village located by the forest. We are simple farmers, blacksmiths, and weaponsmiths. This is how my journey that brought me face to face with the archer of Mateo began. My best friend, Eric, and I had gone out in the woods for an archery contest to see who's the best. Sam, he said, as he beckoned me over, pointing to some tracks in the dirt. Samber deer. They don't come through these parts of the woods unless they are ridden. Elves, Eric said with an expression of fear. We smelled smoke and heard screams in the distance. We ran to our village as fast as we could, but we were too late. All the huts in the village had been burnt, our livestock slaughtered, and let out an aggravated shout with tears in my eyes. It seems they took them all captive. There's no bodies, Eric said. I looked up, and he had a hopeful look on his face.
Very nice, thank you. Giving it to Josh, because Josh is going to read a section. And Josh is going to read a little section from Mateo's story. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Let me just find it.
It should be in the back.
See, you're not only teaching writing, you're teaching teamwork and performance art and all sorts of things with the donation from the Legion. So thank you very much for that again.
Here it is. There it is. And before I start, I would just like to say that I owe Mateo's book a lot. When I first started this, I thought that having a short story meant that I would have to leave out some amounts of detail that I would normally put in. But Mateo showed me that that's not the case. And the level of detail that he was able to put in inspired me to do the same. So my book would not be as good as it currently is without him.
Thank you, thank you.
Now this is In the Footsteps of Rasha Arlette by Mateo Cardenas. The carriage containing the Arlette siblings was fairly standard for nobility, painted black with the Arlette family coat of arms on both doors and pulled by 2 strong horses. The inside of the carriage was larger on the inside than it appeared on the outside due to dimensional magic, and was able to fit far more than the 3 passengers that currently occupied it. The seats were well cushioned and lined with reddish-purple silk, similar to the drapes that covered the windows. All these details about the carriage were not nearly so important as the passengers that rode inside it. They had been riding in silence for most of the long journey from the lands which their family owned. Silence, however, was broken when the driver rapped on the screen, separating him and the noble adolescents. We're approaching Elk. This announcement was met with a different reaction from each of the 3 siblings. The eldest, Lon, sat up a little straighter and double-checked he had everything he might need at the upcoming social gathering. The youngest, Mikhail, scooched over to the window, pulling back the curtains, and marveled at the opposing walled city to which they would be entering. Rasha, the middle child, also glanced out one of the windows, but her eyes only stayed on the city of Elk for a moment before exploring the surrounding landscape.
Of ideas for future works, or are you struggling to go on to the next one?
Well, for me, usually when I write a story, my brain automatically tries to come up with a sequel. It's like almost like a reaction that I have. So yeah, I'd say definitely. This is to me. This is this book of mine takes place in a real life setting, which I think is the first.
So it's a springboard.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the first of that genre that I've. So definitely.
For me, like, I do poetry, and when I write, it's like me trying to get an understanding of something big that's going on in my life, like almost like a diary, or like also my way of explaining how it affected me, like that big thing that happened in my life. And I'm not really good at like using my words, like even now, like talking normal, that's not easy for me, but writing in poetry, like it comes out and it helps me understand what's going on, and it helps me just as much
As long as you're breathing, you're writing.
Yeah, pretty much.
What was that question you said to us?
Restate.
What this?
Did it make you want to continue writing? Yeah?
I have like an orange folder at my house. I keep it in my desk. And I wrote like a bunch of other comics that I've like drawn just by myself, and I'm still continuing all of them.
Very good.
For me, my haikus and poetry to a degree, it's not the problem with writing itself, it's the problem of inspiration, because sometimes you're not in the mood to write to where you just can't find that inspiration to write, and then there's certain times where you'll just get that big bulb light up in your head, like a brain spark where you can actually write something, and it's like you have the first sentence of it started so you can start. So did it change the way I write? Yes, because I got more knowledge on formattation as well as the writing itself, on what would make it better, how would restating it make it better, and just how to make it better in general, as well as the thought process within it. I am currently working on another book itself, but it's not a haiku or any poetry. But that one I might not let to open eyes yet.
Okay.
It's still
Other questions? Yes, please.
Yeah, I'd like to hear all of their names, their ages, and what their future plans are with this.
Okay. You'd like to hear all of your names and ages and what your future plans are. Do you think you'll go on to want to write, or will it always be a hobby? Or why don't we start with Hannah? Hannah, would you stand up and say your name again, please, and your age?
My name is Hannah Uregard. I'm 10 years old, and what was that last one?
What do you think you'll keep wanting to write, or what do you want to do with your life?
Write books.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Sarah, would you mind?
My name is Sarah Nimnick. I'm 18, and honestly, that's something that I'll never stop doing, and I would love to, on the side, publish my writing, even if it's not for a profit, just to be able to say I'm out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Josh?
My name is Joshua Winters. I'm sorry, the second one was...
what will you do, what do you want to go on to continue to do?
Oh, yeah. Well,
age, sorry.
Yes,
age.
That's the one. Yeah, I thought there was something in between. Yeah, I am 18. I will be 19 in a few weeks. And I definitely intend to continue writing, most likely professionally. I definitely see a professional author as being one of the things that I would love to do with my adult life going forward.
Very cool.
April? My name is April Whitten. I am 14, turning 15 in May. I see this more as a side career because currently I am actually on the brinks between debating on my future career in graphic designing or culinary arts.
Thank you.
Because they're both very useful career tactics. And yes, I do see me writing more in the future, but I do not see 100% of it just being solely what I rely on.
And I'd like to circle back to something that was said there by Sarah. I'm that kind of writer too. It's in my head all the time. And I write to quiet my mind. We just had a writers' gathering at One Act Ice Cream Parlor, and people who were beginning authors were asking that question. And it's the only way I get quiet, is to write something down. It doesn't have to be good. I'm not famous or anything like that, but I do have to quiet my mind. And what you're giving to these young people is not just something creative, you're giving them mental health, right? Something that unfortunately we seem to have lost because of being able to afford it. You know, there are many people, my husband's a potter, and we used to volunteer in the elementary school when our children were young, and inevitably the most difficult children in the classroom would be right up next to him, saying, I would do this all day, Mr. Murray, if I could. And that's because he was speaking to a part of their brain that nobody else had spoken to at that point. So what you gifted here was speaking to a part of these young people's brains that they needed to express. And so that, well done again, right? I'm going to keep saying it. More questions? Yes, please.
I'm curious, usually when people write and they're young, they don't really get into the editing process very much. So I'm curious to know, especially with poetry, what your experience was with the editing process, and was that new to you? And
I had so much fun. Oh my gosh, the editing was just as fun as writing, like going through, and I mean, I didn't change any part of the word because when I'm writing my poetry, 100% of it is coming out, it's fluent, and if the word doesn't fit, it's still meant to be because that's the way it came out of me, you know what I mean? But like going through and seeing my mistakes, because when I'm going through, I'm not focusing on the way I'm writing, I'm just writing to write. And I made so many mistakes, but also like I got to learn about like the way you can position the words, and like also like the way you position it, how it's going to flow into the next sentence, where you stop that sentence and where you start that sentence, and how you blend them together. Like I got to learn a lot of cool things, and I had a lot of fun with that.
Anybody else want to address that question? April, maybe? Hannah, please.
So I draw my comics. So I draw it one time, and then I read it, and then I edit it, and then I read it again, and then I edit it more. I keep doing that until it's good enough until I'm like, that's good enough.
And you know, that's a big skill, Hannah, because a lot of young people want to put it down once and then walk away from it. The fun is in putting it down, but actually if you have spent the time editing, I think that's what your question was addressing, that's a really very wonderful thing that you did.
Personally, I myself, with editing, yeah, back then I wasn't fully aware of editing. I knew about it, I knew how to do it, I knew bits and bobs towards it. I worked with my editing within many of the books I read for short little analogies and a lot of stuff, but it takes a lot of time to edit. It's pretty, okay, at first when you start doing it, it can get boring, but then you start to reread your work and then it just clicks.
Oh, well done. Yeah, very good. Nice answers too.
And then,
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, for me, the story writing process is originally what really drew me into this field, and so often editing is actually kind of difficult for me because it's not something that I feel, at least not starting out, something that I felt like I did like really naturally. But then as time went on though, and especially when doing like big, like in my mind big projects like this, I get really meticulous with my editing about it. So yeah, I for me a lot of it is driven just with taking pride in my work.
Very good. Very good. Other questions? Yes.
Sarah, how old were you when your mother passed away?
I was 9.
And you wrote the poem, the first poem you read, because you didn't get to know her.
Yeah.
Did you write a poem when your father passed away last year?
Yeah, I did. I wrote a poem for his funeral, and I got to read it at his funeral. It's a lot of fun.
Do you have it with you now?
Yeah.
Can she read it?
I don't mind. It's up to Sarah, really.
Jonathan, where in the book did you put it?
I don't remember which one that was.
The very, very last one I submitted in last February.
Okay, look for the table of contents.
Do you remember the title?
It was similar to the one from my mom, the name of it.
Because I know I have one about your father in there. It's like somewhere in the middle.
Is it that one?
Ode to My Dad.
That was
page
a different
52.
one.
Okay.
Okay, I think that was the only one I got for publication.
There was one towards the end, but I don't think we ended up adding that.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I think we were out of the time limit.
Yeah, we were gonna try to add it, but I don't think it made it.
Yeah.
Other questions? Yes, please.
What are all those other books up there? Just
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention these. These were what the young authors books used to look like. So these have been published over the years from the young authors at the school, the elementary school, Chaslin?
The Concrete Young Authors
The Concrete
Program.
Young Authors Program. And so you can see they're spiral bound, and and they're put out so you can take a look at them with the author's work on the pages. And I think that what we were trying to achieve with this one was a little more professional look to it, something that would stand the test of time rather than the pages get pulled out, which is easy to do with a spiral bind. I think they have something that they'll be able to take home and be very proud of. I do want to mention that it's very hard to get a book to this place, right? Formatting it and uploading it and then having the computer do what you want it to do is not obvious. And you can spend many, many hours scratching your head saying, why did it turn out looking like this? You get the proof back in the mail and it doesn't look like anything that you wanted it to look like. So then you're back to the drawing board. Trust me, technology is not as handy as people say
that's why
it
it took
is.
so
It
long.
is
It was
the source of so much
I was gonna
frustration.
cry.
And look at this, to be able to include the cartoon the way it's been included, which is pretty wonderful, so that you can read it and you can see the artwork that went into it. I think it's a lovely publication. Are you guys pleased with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, and they're the ones that really count, right? I mean, to get to see their work in this one.
Might
Yes.
I say I am the most proud of Chaslin's table of contents. It makes me very happy.
Yeah, there you go.
I also might add in there, for a lot of the poetry itself, the artwork that was put with it was really beautiful.
So thank you to Chaslin for all the hard effort that she went to make that book look good. So do we have more questions? If not, there are treats and snacks, and then the young authors would love to sign books for you. And you can also go up to and talk to them one-on-one if you'd rather, if you're more comfortable doing it that way. Do we have anything else that I need to do before we get to that place? Okay, then I would like to give a round of applause to the young authors.
Oh, we do have one more thing. One more thing. Let me pull it real quick.
Okay.
Thank you. I think I read I read examples of all your stuff. It's all really good.
I know, I'm proud of every single one of us in this group.
I
Yeah.
tried to tell my friends about it, like how my comic was.
Especially
but,
you, yours was fun. Yours was.
I know, but I couldn't remember how long it was or what it looked like.
Actually, a lot of them.
So today we do have about 100 copies of the book available at the table with Miss Betty from the Friends over here. But if we do somehow manage to sell out of those, or if in the future you want to send some to more of your family members that are maybe not local to the area, we do have on Amazon a listing for the book. And every time you purchase the book from Amazon, those proceeds are linked to the Friends' bank account. And that the proceeds will be going to library programs and more things like this, more things like the Lego table in our kids' room, just things to support what we do here for these guys. So everything that we've got today on the table, that's going to the same place. And this is something that the kids thought of. So really, really proud of them and their desire to kind of help fund future things through the work that they've done. So thank you guys so, so much.
Thank you.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Will you guys be doing this again?
Will we be doing this again? Will you be doing this again?
I don't know. It was quite a long time to get from beginning to end. A lot of things are kind of variable depending on funding, how much we make from this current book and things like that. And also volunteer hours. I don't know that it's with the library's current workload that I could do it by myself again. So I would need a lot more like volunteer support to make a program like this happen again and much faster than it was this time. So we're open to it, but we're not sure. We haven't like committed to it.
Well, thank you. You were a great audience too. Thank you very much for coming
I have
and
one
listening to these.
question.
Yes, go ahead, Hannah.
What are those?
Those are our recorders for sounds, Hannah.
Scared to ask.